This is a Shields of Shame exclusive.
Elderly Lois Howard, arrested by Canton Police in Cherokee County, Georgia, following a grocery store dispute. Howard alleges mistreatment, including being shoved into a police car, breaking her ribs. Chaos ensues at Cherokee County Detention Center as jail staff refuses admission due to Howard's injuries. Officers left her in the lobby anyways and fled the scene. Listen to the interviews and gather the facts and form your own assessment of the truth. Please visit shieldsofshame.com for behind-the-scenes content. Thank you for supporting our work. Also consider becoming a member. It's just 99 cents a month, and you will have access to bonus content and early releases.
Sergeant Brown over at the jail.
Hey, yes, sir.
Could you have a Canton supervisor give me a call at, I don't even know my own extension.
4200 maybe?
No, 4216 will work.
4216. I was trying to guess. Okay, I'll get the supervisor to give you a call.
Today's date is May 25th, 2021. The time now is 18:08 hours. In the room is myself, Sergeant Tiffany Cromer, and Sergeant Michael Imbriano with the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. This is in reference to an internal affairs investigation and a witness interview. Okay, so I just want to make sure that we're both clear on why I'm here and what's the situation. It's my understanding on May the 21st, around 1:17 in the morning, Officer Leonard and her recruit, Officer Overbay, brought in an elderly female named Lois Howard, who was sequentially rejected admittance into the jail due to medical reasons, and they were rejected by the medical staff. If you don't mind, if you could just take me through start to finish that you made contact with them, and obviously when that contact ended, just tell me about it.
Initially, I heard Deputy Vasquez call for a nurse to come to intake.
Okay.
And our standing order from the captain is that currently, if medical staff is needed in intake, then a sergeant or above has to respond with the nurse.
Okay.
Just because there's been issues in the past and
yes.
kind of smooth things over if possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I went out with the nurse. Generally, I try to see if there's anything that pops out at me with the incoming. Is there any obvious distress or anything like that? I could tell she was elderly. She was leaned over. She was complaining about her ribs. The nurse went over. He said he saw some bruising on her face and on her leg. She said that she thought she may have broken some ribs or something. And he said, okay, I want her to be checked out at the hospital. And at
Can
that
you tell
time,
me that nurse's name? Do you know it?
it was in the memo, but I can't.
Okay, I'll check
remember
back on
offhand.
it. Okay.
But I believe Overbay was an intake at that time, and I could see that Leonard was outside. I think I met her at the I-100 intake door and said that she was being refused. Leonard conveyed to me that Lois Howard was a frequent flyer that they dealt with frequently out on the street. They were always responding calls to her. She felt like Howard was probably shirking, or that may have been faking a medical problem, that she said she does that frequently and was always going to the hospital, abusing the ambulance services just to get rides, and that she was homeless. And I said something to the extent of, well, they're not going to accept her, they want to be checked out first. She got upset. Generally there's some kind of pushback, so it's just like water off a duck's back. So she said something to the effect of, well, I'm just going to take her around to the front of the jail. I'm going to do that from now on when I don't agree with medical refusing someone. I said, don't do that. And the bad part about it, I really like Leonard. And she's got kind of a personality, but I enjoy when she comes in. We generally get along pretty well. Whenever there's a refusal, the nurse signs the refusal, states the medical reason on the form. I make copies for the arresting officer if they want it. They co-sign, I sign it. We have copies that get sent up to jail administration. A copy goes in this book we keep in intake. And then I make a copy for medical staff if they want it. Typically, some do, some don't. But so I went out to the main booking area to make my copies. I talked to Lieutenant Strauss. I said, she's saying she's just going to drop her off in the front. We're refusing her. Just to give him a heads up. So I made my copies. I said, I'm going to go try to talk to her. So I went back out, gave her a copy. She was talking to Miss Howard at the time, I believe. And at that time, I can't remember if I had to go do something in GCIC and then come back out or something, but I believe I had to make copies in GCIC because our copier was down.
Okay.
So I came back out into intake, wanted to try to talk her out of doing anything rash. I believe Deputy Cersei was out there at that time, and they had already, Vasquez and Penley, I think, had helped them load her into the patrol car. Cersei was out there talking to her. I was like, well, here's your copy, you know. And I asked her not to drop them off at the front. She said, I'm going to drop her off at the front. And I said, please. I remember saying, please. I said, don't drop her off at the front. It's not good for anybody. I said, I don't want anybody to get in trouble over this. Let's calmer heads prevail, you know. And she said, well, I'm going to do it. And I said, well, I can't control your actions, but, you know. And she's like, and then she said something to the effect of, well, I'll see you Monday. And I was like, okay. And I didn't think she would do it.
Right.
And then, so we went back to doing whatever, and then I believe Corporal Etheridge came in and said that Cersei was doing a 92 and saw, because they'd seen something on the camera. So he did a 92, he went up and didn't see her, and then as he was coming back in, he saw lights, and then he was like, what's going on? So he went and talked to EMS, and he was like, oh, there she is. She was right across the street.
Okay.
And so that's about the extent of it.
Okay. Was she cussing?
Not at me. She may have said something to Howard, like to the effect of, you do this all the damn time, or you got your way, or something. I can't remember. But she didn't cuss at me.
Okay.
But
Do you ever remember if she was on the phone at any point?
I believe she'd stepped out to call a supervisor at some point. Because typically when we refuse somebody, the arresting officer will call their supervisor and give them a heads up. And sometimes the supervisor will then call us. In this case, I don't believe they did. I contacted Sergeant Ayers around 3-something, just to give him a heads up of what had happened. He was aware that she had been refused. I don't think he was aware of the extent of what all went on, but I filled him in as best I could.
Okay, so when you contacted Sergeant Ayers, at what time you said you thought?
It was around 3:20, 3:30.
Okay. Did you say that, and just correct me, did you say that he was already aware of the refusal?
He was aware that she had been refused.
Okay.
This is a Shields of Shame exclusive.
Because I was like, hey, I don't know if you're aware, but we had a refusal earlier, and he mentioned her name, the name of Miss Howard. So.
Okay. And so did he specifically say, yes, I'm aware that she was refused, or did he just...
He may have just said that maybe he just knew that she had arrested Howard.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But he knew who I was talking about.
All right. Were you standing there while she was on the phone? In the video, there's like a metal detector, and it's either you or it could be Cersei, I'm not sure, are standing here, and she's standing up against the wall, and she's on the phone with someone.
I may have been. I know she was on the phone at some point, but usually they step out, so
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
The reason I'm asking is because I'm trying to figure out who she was on the phone with.
Okay. Usually
So-
they call their supervisor.
I agree.
Yeah,
Right.
but
That's what I'm just trying to figure out. So what does Cersei look like?
he's his hair's like grayer than mine. He's about my age.
Yeah, y'all look... yeah, okay. All right.
I've got
Too.
mine shows up balder on the camera, so.
It's a sideways view, so we're good there.
Okay.
Okay. Let me think. At any point, did you make contact with Overbay? Did you ever
No.
see him speak, talk,
Mm-mm.
make any actions? Okay.
Not that I'm aware
What did you kind of gather from him?
of. To me, he was like normal training, that usually they're...
Robot.
Right.
Do as told.
Yes.
I understand.
I don't recall him doing anything in particular that stood out.
Okay.
I believe he was trying to, when our deputies were aware of the refusal, I think he was trying to figure out handcuff her or not, or collecting her property, that type of stuff. But I was in and out somewhat, so I may miss something.
Okay. All right. Other than yourself and the other two deputies that I have already previously talked about and Cersei, is there anyone else in that situation that you think I would need to talk to?
I don't think any of the corporals came out,
Okay.
so it should be good.
Do you know if that nurse is here this evening?
Should be. They usually show up at 7, so he may not be here yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. That's fine. Okay. Well, at this time, this is really all the questions that I have for you, but I always like to ask prior to stopping the interview. Is there anything that you think may be vital for me to know that maybe I have not covered or I have not asked you so far?
For me, the main thing, I don't mind the pushback from officers or deputies. I view it as a give and take. In the end, the inmate's not coming in if medical refuses them. So
Right.
it's not me, it's not the nursing staff, it's nothing personal.
Right.
But it's just we can't do it. So I expect them to get a little mad. So I take with a grain of salt anything she may have said that may have seemed disrespectful. My only problem is the liability she placed on us with the drop off. And day shift is not such a big deal, but 2 o'clock in the morning, generally, we've given people rides when they're released before, just because we don't want somebody to get run over by a car in the middle of the night.
That's absolutely correct.
So that was my only intention in submitting the memo, was like, hey, let's not do this anymore.
Right. This is, yeah. Okay. that
But
makes sense.
and I would like to say that I do think the world of it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Okay. Well, that's going to be it. Time now is 18:19.